sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need you to survive.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. I'm your host, your brother, and your friend, Rashid, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining me on another edition of the most powerful platform for truth bar none on God's green earth. This is your platform for education, elevation, and edification. This is the Red Pill Diaries. And as we wait for Stanislav to join us, we will talk about some of the main events that are going on right now in America. I just got a beep or something. All of the things that are going on inside and outside of America, the madness that is filling the U.S. administration. I continue to tell everybody that time is one of the main components that everybody should pay attention to. And this time that we're in is a time of change. We're looking at a financial change monetarily. You know, people say, well, there's no way to challenge the dollar. The dollar is being challenged through America's own policy, through her own arrogance, through her own spending, through her own wars, through her own neglect of at home and abroad. We're watching that. This is no longer a slow motion collapse. This is not the beginning of the end of the American. Well, this is the end of the beginning of the American empire. We're watching the collapse of the American Republic in real time. You know, and for those of you who are joining, we're waiting for Stanislav to join us, whatever. You know, we're different. He's on Moscow. I think he's on Moscow time. He has the link. Hopefully he'll join us ASAP. If not, you know how that goes. Shout out to everybody who's joining us in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's watching live. Those of you who will join us later, please hit the like button. Please contemplate on whether to subscribe, and if you subscribe, I would really appreciate that, and hit the bell icon, okay, for all the notifications. And also I would like to say we dropped a banger on the channel member stream a few days ago. Good hour and so stream. It's really good, and it's really in depth, and it really goes into details on what's going on. But again, time, as I told you over, and I will tell you ad nauseum, time is a measurement of motion. How long it takes to get from one destination to the other destination. In between these lines, you have a time, the motion that it takes to get there. Well, the motion that it took to get to the collapse of America, from the time of her inception to the day, is 250 years. We're watching the collapse of the American Republic, the American Empire, right? All the signs point toward it. I know people don't like to hear this because this is a truth that is unpalatable. It is not talked about in circles. It is hushed up, and it is whispered about. But if you don't deal with reality, you put yourself in jeopardy of destruction, of injury, of fall, all right, or placing yourself at the wrong place at the wrong time. So once we understand the reality of the time and what goes on, then we can properly put into context the irrational policy, the irrational thinking, the irrational movements of the American empire, the irrational public outbursts of the so-called national diplomat or the so-called American president and his administration. We have Stanislav in the building, and I'm about to bring him into the stream. Thank you so much for joining us today on the platform, Stanislav. I really, really, really appreciate it. Are you there? Stanislav, we haven't, but we don't have sound, and we don't have Stanislav, are you there? Oh, he may have gone out and come back in. Everyone, he may have had a little technical thing, and he may be coming back in. But you saw at the bottom of the screen, Stanislav Krapivnik. Okay, so you know this is not clickbait. I'm telling you. All right, but again, when you look at the situation of the American empire and the irrational policies, the hot-headedness of the so-called leader of the free world, and then you look at the position of the American Republic domestically and how it is imploding domestically, and then you look at the situation of the American empire and how it is being rejected, challenged, and removed from its positions of power globally, one could understand the disconnect mentally with the leadership of the West. He's back in the stream. Yes. Let's try to bring him back in. Right. Are you there, Stanislav? Let me see if I can bring. I see him, but I don't see him. Stanislav, I see your name. I don't see your face, and I can't hear you. I hope you can hear me. He goes out and he's all right, there we are. Let's try this again. Maybe let's try it this way. He is trying. He's trying to get in because this is the third time he's trying to get in, and we have everything going properly. So maybe it's on his end. I know it's not on this one at this moment. Hopefully we can get him in. Oh, man, I tell you. Well, take your time to get in. We'll be here. We're gonna add to the stream again. Add to the stream. We see him. Hold on. Let's see. Add scene. I see him in the back, but I can't see his face, and I can't see. It's on his end. It's on his end. I'm looking at the stream. It's on his end. But we're gonna. However long it takes for him to get through, we're patient. I just want to ask him a lot of questions on the geopolitical situation. So whatever it takes. Again, everybody, America is no longer in slow motion crash and burn. She's in real fast-paced implosion. All one has to do is look at the situation. Now, let me bring something to your attention, okay? Donald Trump is still funding, regardless of what you want to say, he's still funding the destruction of Ukraine. He's still supplying actionable intelligence. He's still supplying money. He's still supplying weapons, regardless of what everybody's saying. Now, how much more would that do for veterans here in America who have suffered? Forget the irregular population for a minute. He claims to be a patriot in America first. What is more patriotic than taking that money and making sure that those people don't have to live off food stamps, don't have to live off, on the street corners with food, please help, anything works signs. This is what I'm saying. What more could a president do with that money that he's spending, whether it's been reduced to 3 billion or 5 billion or 8 billion or 12, whatever it's been reduced to? Think about what it could do to those who have come back from the wars of America, damaged or left out of like this society. Think about the money that could have been used to reintegrate them into society, right? Insane leadership does not think about that. They speak about patriotism, and yet they let their patriots suffer. You have money to fund Ukraine. You have money to fund color revolutions in Georgia. You have money for terrorism in the Sahel. You have money for military operations against Cuba, against Venezuela, against Bolivia. You have money to try to destabilize Russia. Yet you don't have $1 for the ex-servicemen and women, the servicemen and women, or the population in whole in America. How is that America first? What that is showing you is Donald Trump is mad. His whole administration is mad. It's not just him. I want you to understand something. Shout out to everybody who's joining us. Shout out to Red Panda Pie for the 20 euro super chat. Really appreciate that. Let me pin that up there. Thank you so much. Hopefully Stanislav will be back with us. So you know that I was not clickbaiting you. You saw him trying to get in the studio at least 3 or 4 times. So maybe he's correcting something on his end because it's not on my end. All right. And as soon as he tries to get back in, I'll bring him back in. Regardless, so everybody, please be patient. Things happen, all right? Especially in the midst of all of this war. But how can you think about funding a government around the world when there's over 70,000 infrastructures, projects, roads, buildings, bridges, or whatever, that are in dire need of renovation and upgrade right now? If we use the standard, oh, here he is right here. Again, let's try to add it. Hopefully, God, please let this one come through. I don't understand. We have him. We have him, but it's not showing. Maybe OSI. I don't understand that. I don't understand why it's not letting him through. Because it's saying it's on his end. How many other times he tries, we'll be right here for him. I know that much. But anyway. Okay. Hopefully we might have. Let's see. Let's try him again. Let's see if that'll work. Add him from this area. Stanislav, it's telling me, if you can hear me, it's telling me that it's on your end. Something with your connection. The link is great. And everything is streaming perfectly. So it's on your end. Maybe I'm thinking maybe they don't want him on the platform because of all the truth it's been given out and been telling about the insanity of the Trump administration and the collapse of the American empire. Maybe they don't want him to be on this platform to speak about the irrational policies of Trump, the irrational policies of America, how America is trying to undermine the reemergence of the Russian Federation, how America is trying, and he is trying to get in. Stanislav is trying to get in, but there's no picture. And I'm looking, and for those of you who don't know, I'm in the studio. So I see what you see, but I also see on this side of my screen, I can also see background. And I can see all the scenes. It was almost like what happened to John Helmer. I could see, but it was something with their thing. Man, let's see. The show you has joined the stream. See, I put him live, and this is what happens right here. Let's see. We'll minimize to see. This is all that's coming up in the background. I think it's something with his camera and his audio. Because I'm getting him in. Matter of fact, while we're talking, let me send him a fresh link. Hold on one second. Let me send him a fresh link, copy link. All right. Invite. Yes, let me send Stanislav. Okay. All right. Let me go to. Hold on, everybody. Let me just link to make sure that they're not breaking his link. All right. I see you in the chat. I mean, in the email. Stanislav, I'm going to send you the link on the message that you sent me in the mail, in the email. So let's see, reply. Fresh. Here's the fresh. Right. Paste. Send. Get that in about a minute or so, and then maybe that'll bring you back in. So, I sent you a fresh link. Real time, everybody. This is what I'm telling you. This is what they act as if I have 70 million subscribers, and they're always trying to upend the show, regardless of what. But we're going to continue to go. And again, I want to take a shout out to Red Panda Pie for the 20 euro super chat. I really, really appreciate that. But again, this is no longer the slow motion collapse of America. I want to show you the insanity of America. I always tell you about the hypocrisy and the insanity of America. And there's rules for thee, but not for me, according to the empire. I want you to, let me pull up something real quick, because I thought about this a few days ago and I brought it up. So do you remember the Trump administration were purposely trying to stop Iran from receiving fees for the transit of oil and gas tankers and any other kind of tankers through the Strait of Hormuz? They did not want Oman or Iran to collect any fees, right? All right. So now, I put in Google, Trump administration says that it is unacceptable for Iran to control the Strait of Hormuz and to charge fees. This is what he said, not what I said. This is what their administration said. And let's go to something. Let's see. Let's go back to something. Now, this is what Google AI brought up, because you can read it in the BBC. You can read it on the New York Times. You can read it on 8P News, PBS, Facebook News, The Guardian, and all of this that Trump said. There's just plenty of sources I'm looking at right here. But AI brought this up. It says, the Trump administration stated that it is unacceptable for Iran to control the Strait of Hormuz or charge tolls, enforcing a naval blockade on Iranian ports and carrying out airstrikes against Iranian infrastructure. Now, let's stop right there for a minute. America lies some 9,000 kilometers or 8,000 miles or whatever it is away from the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is not, as most people say, international waters in most of the way. The Strait of Hormuz, when you transit there, part of it is Omani waters and part of it is Iranian waters. But to transit, you have to go through Iranian waters, right? So they are not being genuine with you when they tell you that this is the international waters. They're not being genuine with you. Now, but here's something. Trump says it is unacceptable for that to happen, right? Now let's go to something real quick. I want to show you something. Here we go. Now, according to the definition of unacceptable, unacceptable is an adjective describing something too bad, offensive, or inadequate to be approved, allowed, or agreed upon. It is used to reject behavior, proposals, or conditions that fall below expected standards. Who's expected standards? I'm asking. The United States. Who's expected standards? The U.S. empire, right? Now here's something. He said this is unacceptable, right? Now, let's go to the article on RT on July 13th, okay? And we're still waiting for Stanislav to try to come back in, okay? He can take his time. I sent him a fresh link, everything. This is what it says. U.S. taking over Strait of Hormuz, Trump. Now, that would be fine and dandy if that was the case. But they've tried it before. And it was to no avail. Here's Stanislav right here. Please let this one work. Please let this link work right here. They are blocking him. I cannot believe this. This is not on my end, everybody. I sent them a fresh link and everything. This is not on my end. There's no freezing. There's no pausing. There's none of that. We checked everything before the show. We called the cable company, everything. We had them to run a diagnostic test, everything. So it's not us. So, man, I tell you what, these people. Anyway, hopefully Stanislav doesn't give up and then he fixes it. And like I said, God is good. He always makes a way. But look, Trump says the U.S. is taking over the Strait of Hormuz. This is what I want to say. So look what it says. Look what the article says. Washington will be the guardian angel of the waterway and will get paid for it, the U.S. president has claimed. So now he is saying that it is unacceptable for Iran to take control of its own waters, right? And it is unacceptable for Iran to charge a fee for ships to transit Iranian territorial waters and the waterways of Oman and Iran. So the U.S. is going to take over because that's acceptable, right? In the eyes of empire, in the mind of empire, which lies some thousands of miles across the globe, right? And it's acceptable for the president in the West to receive money. Stanislav, if you could just talk, can you hear me? We don't even have to have your picture up if they don't want your picture up. I just want to hear you, to ask you some questions, because it seems like they're playing games with, and it's not on my end because we've checked and checked. As a matter of fact, I can show you that it's not on my end. Fresh links to him. Fresh links to him. You see, I told you guys they sabotage live on there. Fresh links to him. Now listen what he says. The U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed that America is taking over the Strait of Hormuz from Iran and will act as the guardian angel. First of all, you're a devil. You've shown the actions of Satan and the devil. So how in the hell can you be anybody's guardian angel? You are showing the world and showcasing devilish actions. And you're showing the world that you are Satan incarnate, because the word Satan, and people get these two words mixed up, devil and Satan. Devil is any germ that is grafted from the original. Satan means someone whose evil is not confined to oneself, but affects others. So America is acting more satanic than anybody, because her evil has gone global. Okay? So he says, the U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed that America is taking over the Strait of Hormuz from Iran and will act as the guardian angel of the key waterway and get paid for it. Tehran has earlier declared the strait closed, blaming hostile actions by U.S. forces. Now, it is not okay for Iran to impose transit fees on transit through Iranian and Omani territorial waters. Yes, it's used as an international waterway, but according to international law, your water rights or your sovereignty over your water extends 12 to 12 and a half miles outside of your land borders, right? Well, at certain, it's in the Strait of Hormuz is only 24 miles long. I mean, wide. So half of that is Iranian water and half of it is Omani water. But here's the kicker. Some of Iran's islands lie in the center of it. So at certain parts of the island, the waterway, you have to pass through Iranian territorial waters. So Iran has been allowing for ships to go through without any fees or transits or anything. And it is unacceptable in the eyes of empire that Iran controls its territorial waters. But it is acceptable for America to. If you don't get the flip out of here with that, see, this is what I'm telling you about sissy politics. This is sissy politics. This is desperation. Remember, Lindsey Graham, I continue to tell you, let the cat out the bag. They are trying to keep the dollar relevant because Russia, China, and all of these other nations are doing currency swap agreements. You see them integrating Iran's payment system into the Russian payment system. You see Russia and China's payment system starting to intertwine with each other. You see the Africans are now putting in a payment system, and they are now connecting with the Chinese SIPS payment system, right? Lindsey Graham, after the United States kidnapped the sitting legitimate head of state of the Venezuelan nation, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Lindsey Graham then turned his sights to Iran and said that we should attack Iran. And then if we get Iran, then we sit on 33% of all of the world's oil and gas. What does that mean in relations to the dollar? That means that regardless of what goes on, the dollar would still have some type of relevance internationally. And it would be kept in some form, shape, or fashion as an international currency, even as it declines. Because they could demand, the empire could demand, if they took over Iran, take over Venezuela, they could demand that oil from those nations or gas that's from those nations or any byproducts from those nations be sold in dollars, which would keep the dollar relevant, which would keep the American empire afloat a little bit longer. And all of these assets, which is crazy, right? Total the United States publicly acknowledged debt. Coincidence? I think not. Because they have their eyes on the bigger prize. They want to keep Russia preoccupied with a slow burn in Ukraine, right? They want to take one of the major pieces off the international chessboard, which is Iran, to stop the north-south corridor, right? They get into the heart of it. They have in their eyes China, Pakistan, India, and Russia surrounded. From the Pacific to the Mediterranean, up into the Black Sea, all into the Baltic Seas, all of this. I know it sounds crazy, but these people are crazy. They are even preparing for a nuclear first strike on Russia, on China. Let's go to something real quick, all right? And we're trying to buy a little time to see if Stanislav can get in here, okay? So for those of you who are joining us now and don't see Stanislav on here, if you go back and you look at it, he's tried to get on the platform at least 5 or 6 times, but on his end, it's not cooperating. So he's going to still try. We sent him out fresh links. He'll still try to get on. So just be patient. Hopefully he'll get on. If not, maybe he and I can talk after and we'll try to reschedule something like that. Okay. But again, I want to go to something. All right. Excuse me. Let me bring up something to you guys. Because we have to know what we're dealing with. These are megalomaniacs. These are sociopaths. These are people who are psychotic, okay? And if they don't get their way, they're like the child, the spoiled child that has had his way for the longest and cannot get his way. And they're throwing a tantrum, throwing everything, breaking everything, acting disorderly and causing chaos because they can't get their way. This is the American empire. This is the American government. This is the American leadership. And I might add to you and remind you that this is the representation that the world sees of America. So, again, Trump says that if Iran does not, as a matter of fact, let's go to it. I'll bring it up. All right. I'll bring it up because I like to prove what I'm saying. Trump says that if Iran does not capitulate, right, he's going to blow up. He's going to make them feel a lot of pain, and he's going to purposely target civilian infrastructure, blow up bridges and all kinds of things, right? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick for you guys. Give me a second. Trump threatens strikes on Iran's power plants and bridges. Okay, here we are on RT, okay. Tehran has vowed that not a single drop of oil will leave the U.S. region as long as evil U.S. persists. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to expand attacks to civilian infrastructure. Listen to what I just said. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to expand attacks to civilian infrastructure next week if Iran refuses to bow, kiss the knee, kiss the ring, bow to his demands as Tehran vows its forces will stand firm until its last breath. Now, what's important about that? What's important about that? There's something very important about that, okay? All right. Now let's go to something. Put these words in your search engine. For those of you who may not, and for those of you who is hearing beeping in the background, those are, I think, the garbage truck and or the power people and stuff going back and forth, working out. So it was crazy. I saw an 18-wheeler just tear down some power poles, and man, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But anyway, that's what you're hearing in the background. All right. So anyway, put this in your search engine. I want you to follow along with me. All right. These are the keywords. Is purposely targeting strikes, targeting power plants and bridges with military strikes, war crimes. Listen to me good. Just put that in your search engine. And according to the AI overview, purposely targeting power plants and bridges is generally considered a war crime under international humanitarian law if they are primarily civilian objects. All right. Now, that's right there. Now, if we flip back to what Trump says, what did he say? U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to expand attacks to civilian. That's purposely, right? Because he's threatened. Hey, I'm going to hit you. Since I can't beat you militarily, I'm going to cause the people to suffer. I'm going to hit you where it hurts at. Okay? He says, U.S. Donald Trump has planned attacks to civilians next week if Iran refuses to buy demands, as Tehran vowed its forces will stand firm until their last breath. The U.S. Central Command reimposed the naval blockade of all vessels transiting to and from Iranian ports on Tuesday evening after launching yet another round of what Washington described as defensive strikes. Now, in bizarro world, maybe these are defensive strikes. How in the hell can these be defensive strikes off the coast and on the territorial property of Iran when America lies thousands of miles away? Iran does not have one ship off America's coast. Iran is not threatening to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles on Russia. On America. America is doing that to Iran. Iran has not threatened nuclear or chemical or biological weapons because they have none. But America has. So in what world, in what rational, what sane world that is not bizarro world is this rational? How is that defensive? Okay, let's see something real quick. All right. According to the dictionary, the word defensive means, the word defensive describes actions, strategies, or behaviors intended to protect against attack, harm, or criticism, right? So is Iran threatening to attack America? Huh? How is Iran 9,000 miles or kilometers away harming America? Huh? Well, Iran is harming us economically. Well, who started the war? So what Iran is doing is retaliating. It is actually in the defensive posture and not the offensive posture, according to the definitions, according to the actions, and according to policies. See, we got to stop tiptoeing and tap dancing around these issues, and we have to address them, because a lot of people don't like to address these realities because they are unpalatable, because it shines a light on imperial hubris, arrogance, and exceptionalism. See, because I told you there is no way that I would not have interdicted weapons coming into Ukraine. No, there's no way on earth. If I was, and I'm just telling you from my perspective, I'm not down in President Putin. He has information that we don't have. All right. I'm not down in any president, but I'm saying, as for me, there is absolutely no way on earth that I would not have interdicted. I'm not talking about in Ukraine. I'm talking about on the outskirts of Ukraine. And I would have made it clear. If we pick up actionable intelligence on radar, satellites, or through human intelligence, shipments or transit of shipments to Ukraine from any NATO nation, we will interdict them on NATO territory. This is me. Well, that would escalate, and Article 5 could be, so what? You think I'm going to let you just kill my soldiers? You bomb my infrastructure, kill my civilians? You're crazy as hell. You're going to bleed me by 1,000 cuts? That's not how things work. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you don't want me to interdict them, then don't transport them. See, this is what I think more nations should do. Well, this could risk nuclear war. Well, this could risk nuclear war by not acting. All right? To continue to, man, I wish these trucks bag back some so I'm not hearing this. But anyway, and I'm hearing it louder than you guys. In my ear, I'm hearing it way louder because I'm right here. Anyway, there is no way on earth that you get the free hand to hit my infrastructure. Not only had that emboldened you, Russia was saying that deep strikes would cause a chain reaction where Russia would take strikes outside of NATO, but they haven't done it. They tried to take out Russia's early warning system. They hit Russia's nuclear triad bomber base, right? When is enough is enough. And I would tell America, because they tried to assassinate Putin. Look, I don't advocate war for war, everybody. I advocate for freedom, justice, and equality. And if you think it's good enough to hit me, then hell, I think it's good enough to hit you. This is not the Tootsie Roll factory. You don't get free licks here. Because the first law of nature, I don't care what color, what creed, what race, what sex, what gender you are, the first law of nature is self-preservation. All right? That's the first law. And if that law becomes null and void, then life is not worth living. They always put the onus on the victim not to escalate. Iran should not escalate. What the hell you mean? You just bombed me. What the hell you mean don't escalate? Putin should not strike in territory in NATO territory. What the hell you mean I should not strike in NATO territory? NATO territory was just used to strike me. Well, we don't target civilians. Well, I don't target them either. But if you're going to kill my civilians, yours are not safe. See, Again, language here. As long as you allow them to do what they're doing and be unscathed, they will continue to escalate until you have no other recourse but a nuclear strike. Because some of you that doesn't live inside of America does not understand. Some of you who are not poor people or middle class people or something like that, or not a majority person in America, don't understand the thinking of America. America is not going to stop. She may pause, she may put on the brakes for a minute, and while she has the brakes, she's padding them so the car can continue to go further. That's what she's doing in Ukraine. She hasn't stopped. She hasn't stopped in Syria. She hadn't stopped in Lebanon. She hadn't stopped in North Africa. She hadn't stopped in Latin America. She's trying to roll back the gains for the people that are trying to fight for independence in the Caribbean. She hadn't stopped in Georgia. She's still trying to overthrow the elected officials in Georgia. She's still trying to overthrow or put in more puppets that'll bag the Armenian prime minister so that she can have a good footing in there, because her eye is Russia. Her eye is China. You don't get the luxury to set all these fires on my border. You don't get that luxury. And what does America say to show you the arrogance, the hubris? Is that the Western Hemisphere is ours. We can't allow China and Russia into Venezuela. We cannot allow them into Peru. We cannot allow them into Colombia, blah, 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 because it's our backyard. So you're telling me you're the only one that has a right to a backyard. You're the only one that has a right to a sphere of influence. Man, if you don't get the flip out of here. But see, I blame this on a lot of the leaderships. If you're a man, be a man. If you're a woman, be a woman. Tell it like it is. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Tell them, get the hell out of Armenia right now. Russia right now has the capabilities. Listen to me. Russia is so advanced militarily now that a lot of people don't understand this. Russia does not need to reconstitute military bases in the Western Hemisphere because of its hypersonic missiles and because of its new generation of missiles, the same as with China. So what Russia should do, do not let them do to Cuba what they did to Syria. Russia should park warships in in Cuba. Those that carry hypersonic weapons, not to use, but to show them, look, you too can be touched. You're not going to take this piece off the chessboard for us. And not only that, I told them they should have done it in Venezuela long before the invasion, long before the United States openly said that. So America is trying to attack and take pieces off the chessboard for China. Look what they've done in Panama. Look what they've done in Venezuela. Look what they're doing all around the areas where China has heavily invested, where Russia has heavily invested, where Iran has heavily invested. They're trying to take those pieces off the chessboard. All while they are then moving smaller pieces from their empire into the heart of West Asia, into the heart of Central Asia, into the heart of the Pacific, into the heart of the Caucasus and the Baltics. Man, if you allow America to do this, listen to me good. I'm telling you this, you are asking for war. I mean, a direct confrontation. Has she yielded? Did she yield after the collapse of the Soviet Union? No, she expanded. Did she yield after promising no more expansion? No. NATO expanded 3 or 4 more times. Did she yield after giving the okay to the Georgian Saakashvili to attack Russian peacekeepers? Huh? In South Ossetia, that used to be part of Georgia? No. She when she's in trouble, she wants to slow down so that she can think. So she uses the 3 R's of empire: to rest, to rearm, and to recalibrate. To rest, to rearm, and to recalibrate. So now she's starting fires all across West Asia, Central Asia. Hell, India was playing both sides of the fence, and India continues to get burned right now. For what was it, yesterday? Another U.S. Special Force person was caught transiting the Indian Nepalese border to try to go into China and come out of China and go up into India so they can stoke tensions. This was not the first time this year this happened. But you play with fire, you get burned. So if you're going to burn me, guess what? Let's set the whole house on fire. You don't get the chance to burn me alive. And you live the good life because people think that this is unacceptable. Hell, what is unacceptable is your arrogance, your greed, your unbridled, unhinged thirst for dominance. That's what's unacceptable. You have been at war almost every year of your existence. If that is not the devil, if that is not Satan, if that is not the bloodshedder, you tell me what is. In that span of 250 years, America has shed more blood than in recent memory. With all of the wars, she's been at war almost her entire, from her inception too. Because it was built on the back of slaves. It was built on the back of the Red Indian. Then she imported the Chinese, did something to them. She imported other people of other nationalities. Hell, she had white slaves. Because the other stuff wasn't working. Man, listen, you don't understand with the mindset of America. It's about total domination. It's about obeisance. That's why I said that if Iran does not bow, listen to me good. Let's go to something real quick while we're talking. Okay? Meaning of bow. We're not talking about off the ship. All right? All right. The word bow has multiple distinct meanings depending on its pronunciation. Okay? Pronounced bow, B-A-U, rhyming with cow, refers to the act of bending the head or body to show respect, yielding, or the front forward part of a ship or boat. Bending the knee to the empire. Trump just said it. I told you these people talk over your head. If Iran doesn't bow in the next couple of days, who the hell are you for me to bow to? You're not royalty. Who the hell are you? You bow. With all the bloodshed, you better be glad I'm not after you. See, but the sissy politics keeps it going. We'll and Iran, we'll keep the straight clothes until America stops her aggression against us. To hell with that. Meet the aggression with aggression. Meet the aggression with aggression. Let me give you an analogy, because of course I'm the king of analogy. Oh, and everybody, I'm almost back in fighting shape. I want you to understand, I'm down 33 pounds. All right. I'm serious. I'm training every day. But check this out. For those of you who know about me, that I do a lot of martial arts. But anyway, let me give you an example. And I've used this example before. If you're constantly coming at me, and I'm constantly saying, hey, stop. I don't want any problems. and I continue to yield space to you, even though I may not be afraid of you, even though because I've been in situations like that before when I'm saying, listen, let's not go there. And you know, and I'm trying to be diplomatic to try to talk the situation down so that it doesn't escalate, because I know in my mind he doesn't want this. He may think he wants it, but I know for a fact that he doesn't want this, because when he gets it and he opens up this can of, he's not going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle. So you want to talk diplomatically. Hey, look, stop doing this. Hey, let's back a little bit. Let's do X, Y, and Z. But if they're belligerent, you look them in their eyes, you look at their body mechanics, you see what they're doing, and you plan accordingly. You step back a little bit, you give a little ground, you talk softly, but not like a punk, and you see if they're continuing to increase their anger, their vitriol, and continue to gobble up the space that you see. If they continue to do that along with threats, and you're saying, hey, listen, I'm not moving back anymore, I'm asking you for the last time to go with that. If they do not respect that last stand there, then you have every right to put hands and feet on them and beat the flip-flops off of them, because your life could be in danger. The same is said for nations. You can only yield so much if you continue to yield to these people in every aspect, whether it's economic, whether it's social, whether it's political, because everybody tries to appease America. America says this is not democratic, then they go the extra mile to try to prove to America that their elections are democratic, when America is the most undemocratic nation on the planet. Well, you have delegates that can overrule the vote of the people. Hell, you telling somebody else what's democratic to them? When America talks about finance, they go, oh, we want to be a part of the financial system. We didn't want to kill the dollar. We wanted to be a part of it, but America's sanctions is to hell with that. You've seen what she's done with her usage of the dollar, the undermining of nation sovereignty, the killing and overthrowing of governments and stuff like that. Mubarak was their, the former president of Egypt. He was their go-to man. And when he wouldn't do what they said, the United States played with the interest rate to cause wheat prices to spike so that the bread could go up in Egypt, and it caused the uprising to overthrow the man that was backing them, and that was their puppet for a little while. That's how you can't trust her. That's how wicked she is. So if you continue to yield and give, look what happened to Nasrallah. May peace be upon him. Okay? Look at what happened to Nasrallah. Nasrallah negotiated in good faith. They came to an agreement. They came out of hiding. They were about to sign an agreement, and as soon as America sent those AWACS up and got actionable intelligence, she sent the word out to warplanes in Israel and occupied Palestine. They bombed, and I kept telling you all. I said this. Listen, go back and look at this. I said America is setting them up for the fall. There is no way America is saying that they want peace, and they are transporting all of these bunker buster bombs to Palestine. These will be used. You're not doing it. It costs money to transport this. It costs money to airlift these things. It costs money to position these things. Money that America doesn't have. Time that America is out of. And as soon as Nasrallah and his crew was out, what did they do? They bombed. Not only did they went and bombed a bomb behind another bomb until they dug deep enough to take the command structure out. Didn't they do that in Palestine, in Gaza? Huh? Didn't they overthrow the Syrian government? What about in Iraq with Soleimani and the rest of the crew? They even attacked and killed Iraqi generals and colonels when they killed Soleimani. What about the supreme leader of Iran and his group? For you to try to negotiate with these people, the only way to negotiate with people who have shown that they don't understand diplomacy and diplomatic dialect is to use their negotiating points on them. This is what I'm saying. And when I'm speaking your language, maybe we can get some kind of agreement. Because we've been speaking mine for the longest. Diplomacy and respect of sovereignty and freedom of navigation and international law and this and that. And it seems to not have sunk in because you use international law whenever it is benefiting you. You say international law, then you go and bomb 3 power plants, nuclear power plants, which is a war crime and a crime against humanity. Now you're talking openly about bombing civilian infrastructure. So when does the international law kick in? Does it kick in just for me, or does it kick in for you too? When does the war crimes kick in? Do they only kick in for the smaller nations, the black, the brown, the red, the yellow nations, and the small white nations? Or does it kick in for you too? You are crazy as hell to continue to speak the dialogue of diplomacy with a person that has shown you nothing but bloodlust. After a while, it doesn't become their fault. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result, they attribute that to what? Insanity. So you continue, they'll bomb and then they want to talk. They'll bomb and then they'll want to talk. Man, to hell with that. You bomb me, we're going all out. It's existential now. We're going, you don't get that chance to kill my children. And then at the next time you talk about you want peace or you want negotiation. Okay, we'll negotiate when I get my get back. You don't get a chance to take out the leadership and children. And then talking about come to the negotiating table. You're crazy as hell. I'm telling you stuff that is, see, people won't talk like this. Because they fear that it may offend people. Sometimes it's good to be offended. Because it makes their brain cells work. There's no flipping way on earth that you get to kill my children, get to kill my family, bomb my house, bomb my city, bomb my country, and then go to the negotiating table because of international law. If you don't go directly to hell and do not pass go and collect $200, man, stop this. Stop this. You got to be men and women about this stuff. You got to be real about this. And you have to handle, because remember, leaders are men and women that govern nations. So what is applicable to you is also applicable to them. They have feelings just like you do. They think too. How would they feel if you would have done that? Let's look at it like this. They bombed. Listen, Trump in his first term begged for a meeting with Soleimani. That's why he was in Iraq, for those of you who don't know. First of all, I wouldn't have sent the second most powerful person and the person that was in line to be the next leader to Iraq. I said, you want to talk? Come over here to Iran. There's no way I would have trusted America, even though Soleimani had worked with the Americans before helping them. When America got her foot in the fire and couldn't get out of it, so Iran helped them get their foot out the fire. But see, this is what happened. Backstabbers always do that. They'll come back and you help them out, then they'll jab you a couple times, hide the knife, jab you a couple more times, hide the knife, jab you a couple more times, and you're wondering, hey, why am I bleeding? Why am I hurting so bad? Death by 1,000 cuts. You understand? There is no way on earth I would have sent him there, but they did. What happened? America assassinated. What happened? Trump bragged about it. He's bragging about it to this day. What happened? We've killed all the leadership. We have nobody to negotiate with. Ha, 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 ha. And as soon as there's some inkling that it might be some retribution or some get back, Trump starts screaming and crying. Well, if they take me out, there's orders. The order has been given to respond and to retaliate. What the hell you mean retaliate? The retaliation would take place if they responded. To retaliate means that somebody else initiated it. You got to understand definitions of words. You initiated this. Am I talking about Secret Service? Don't come to my house. Don't. I'm not advocating none of this. The overthrow, the killing, the assassination, none of that. We're dealing with hypotheticals and we're dealing with reality also. And I'm saying that as a man, there is no way you get a freebie. You don't get to kill my family and then say, let's talk. The talking should have took place before that. Let's negotiate. Okay, I'll take you up on the negotiation. But first, I got to get my get back. I have to get my get back. You don't get these freebies. Again, this is not Tootsie Roll. You get no free licks here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I guess the links were broken with Stanislav. I really apologize. You saw everybody. You saw he tried to get in at least 10 to 12 times, something like that. And we have sent out multiple links to him, and they were blocking him. You saw it on the screen. That's why I made it big so that you could see his name. You could see him coming but they would not allow his picture up. They would not allow the sound in or anything. And it wasn't on my end. Because you see we're still streaming on my end pretty good. All right. And shout out to everybody. What is it? Joe Brevis says salute. Blue Pill family says what happened to Stanislav. I don't know what happened. He's still trying to get through the link, still trying to work out some technicalities. That's why I'm still going on for a little bit longer on the show. Maybe we'll get a chance 5 or 10 minutes to talk to him. If not, I'm going to hit him up right after the show. I'm going to apologize to him for what they've done, because this is what happens when you come on my show. You saw it happen to John Helmer when they blocked him half the show. And then he finally was able to get his thing right and get in. He was talking, but we couldn't see him for half the show. And then finally we got that right. So shout out to Rag Hill guest suggestions. Chosy. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, man, I tell you what, this thing is going slow. Dave 8_8 says some great videos from Kuwait showing American missile defense missiles avoiding Iran's incoming missiles. You are tripping. That is a mic drop moment. Boom. Somebody read what he just put up there. Read it. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Oh man. Let's see. Dave says China has replaced the blown railway bridge already. Replaced, yes. First of all, that was an attack on China. That was an attack on Russia. That was an attack just not on Iran, China, and Russia, but the entire global South. This is what I'm telling you. Why would I negotiate with you when you are doing all of this? You're causing chaos. You're just running roughshod. Now, China would have been, and Russia also now, they would have been within their rights to sink U.S. warships that are out there in the Indian Ocean or the Gulf of Oman or wherever, any area out there. They would have been within their rights, because America purposely struck the train railway that China and Russia had come to and Iran had come to agreement that would be used to transit goods through Central Asia to West Asia and back. They did that in one of their bombings. So this was an attack not only on Iran, but this was an attack on South Africa. This was an attack on Brazil. This was an attack on China. This was an attack on India. This was an attack on all of the BRIC nations and BRIC partner nations. This was an attack on the entire global South, which comprises 3/4 of the planet, the population of the planet, or more. So they would have been within their rights to respond. You cannot talk civilization to a savage that refuses education. You can't do it. The only way to bring the savage to the education, right, is to first do your best to communicate with them that the path that they're on is not a winning path, not a viable path. And if after all of that is not accepted, then beat the hell out of them and bring them into senses, right? Beat the hell out of them. Let them know that you too can be touched. You want to hit my bridges? Okay, I got some covert operators there. We're going to touch your bridges too. You want to hit my radar system? Okay. We're not just going to hit the radar systems. We're going to sabotage them everywhere. You want to sanction me? I'm not selling oil to Europe, period. I don't care how much money it takes. I'll redirect my oil. See, this is another thing that I don't agree with Russia on, about selling oil to. I know they have to have their income, but Europe only makes up, the West only makes up 12% of the population of the planet Earth, right? Sell it to everybody else. Redirect your oil and your gas elsewhere. You want to sanction me? Okay, then you're not getting nothing from me. And when you realize the position that you've put yourself in, bend the knee. Like America tells people, bend the knee, bow. I'm not selling you anything, no gas, no oil, no nothing. You got, what, 22 sanction packages on me? Let's see how that works for you. America, you sanction me? Okay. You must have forgot. It is my uranium and plutonium which powers 25 to 30% of your nuclear reactors in America. I'm cutting off the shipments. I'm cutting them off. Now we'll see how that works for you when your power plants close down. When you have to tell the public we have to ration energy. See, you cannot, I would say, I'm not going to say people are not real leaders, but when you're dealing with people, real leaders, that's what they do. We're not going back and forth with this. Like Iran says, either we all eat or I'm flipping over the table. You're not going to eat steak, which I don't eat beef and I don't eat pork, I don't eat chicken, I don't eat none of. But you're not going to be at the table eating all this food and everybody else is over here starving and we're fighting over an acorn. That's not how that's going. Especially you eating it in our house on our land. That's not how that's going. We all eat or I flip the table over. And then I run you the hell out of my house. Man, I'm telling you, people got to be men and women about this. See, I think people, they're so scared of death. When you realize death is an eventuality that we all have to go through. When you realize death is a natural part of life, death is not so scary anymore. When you realize that if you live the best life you can, and you do what's incumbent upon you to others, and you do what's godly, death is nothing. Because you live eternally, you live forever. Because you can't kill, you can't extinguish truth. You can't extinguish freedom, justice, and equality. And if you are the embodiment of that, you'll live on. Stop being sissies with your life. That's why I told you before I would let them come up in my house, you'll kill me in my doorway. If I let you come in my house telling me what to do with my children, what to do with my family, let you have at them with, man, no, sir. See, these sissified Arab governments let America come in and dictate to them and dictate to their people, denigrate the women. Don't you know how precious a woman is, man? That is your field to produce your nation. If you look at a farmer, and the farmer goes out into the field because he knows that's his lifeline, his crops, his lifeline. He goes and he looks for all of the bad, like pests and everything, to remove them from the growth of the vegetables and the fruit, because he knows that is his field of production of life. He's willing to spend whatever it takes and do whatever it takes to protect his property and his field of life. If you don't value a woman like that, you have lost your flipping mind. Don't let them do that to them. Listen, I give you the truth, but I also give you some passion behind it. You understand? Because I have to be frank with you guys, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything just to get some subscribers, just to get into the algorithm, just for you to like the show or something. Now, man, you can kick rocks. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give you the examples. I'm going to give you definitions. We're going to deal with the reality. And the reality of the time is that America is out of time. This is why she's doing what she's doing. This is why she's acting the way she's acting. She's trying to bully everybody because the bully is no longer able to enforce her policy, her will, her dictates on everybody. So she tells Iran, bow the knee. As with Venezuela. How's that working out for Venezuela right now? When those people betrayed, and I'm not talking about the mainstream, but we know who betrayed the leadership because they were scared that they may be targeted and killed. Sissified people. How the hell are you going to betray a person that's working for the benefit of all your people? Well, you have people have been educated, by the masses, 80, 90% when they were illiterate before. When the man has built 50,000 housing apartments and buildings for the people, even under massive strains of sanctions, where it was incumbent upon everybody to know their constitution of the nation so that the government could not misuse them and abuse the power. Do you know that was a law under Hugo Chavez and under excuse me, Maduro. You know that, right? Housing is a right. Education was a right. But he a tyrant. But the United States saddles its people with debt. Its future leaders, politicians, scientists, doctors, lawyers, chemists, everybody saddled with student debt to make a buck. The healthcare system was put in place to help people. He opened up thousands of clinics in poor areas. Charges you $200 for aspirin when you go to the emergency room. Who's the tyrant? Who's the tyrant? These people think that they're above God. I want to show you just how arrogant these people are. This is why the fall is incoming. This is why the fall is picking up the speed. It's like a snowball that started up at the top of the mountain, and now it's built up so much speed and so much mass and so much momentum that any and everything that gets in its way is crushed. God gives you water, they charge you for it. Do you know in Florida now they're contemplating a bill to stop you from catching rainwater? You know that? How in the hell can you introduce a bill to stop somebody from catching something that don't belong to you? Oh, the corporations say we're not making any money about this. You got all of this soil out here for free. They put it in a bag and sell it to you. You can't go on the beach and get sand down here. You'll go to jail. As if it's their sand. All right? So they charge you for water. They charge you for soil. They use the sun to and the wind and the thermal, the geothermal, things to produce energy. Then they charge you for the energy. That's free production. You got the free sunlight, the free wind, the geothermal energy, and then they charge you for it. These people are fleecing you, but they call Gaddafi a tyrant when all of that was free and up under his rule. The tyrants are the ones that's giving stuff to the people, and the democratically elected governments are the ones fleecing the people. Man, if you don't get out of here with this foolishness, man, I'm telling you, the hypocrisy is unthinkable. And while we're thinking about this, more wars. Trump had all of these deferments. What is it, bone spurs? But he doesn't hesitate to bomb people, send people out to war to die. And when they get back, doesn't give them what they need to recuperate mentally, spiritually, or physically, or economically. We're going to cut the benefits here. We're going to cut because we need more weapons. 1.5 trillion is not enough. We need more weapons. To show you the arrogance of these people and the contempt that they have for the masses of the planet, not just for the Americans, for the masses of the planet. They will lie in your face and make you believe that you're the liar. Man, oh, man. But again, I'm going to play this clip that I played before. This is why they're doing it. Okay? 20 seconds. This is why they're doing it.
The world is changing very fast right in front of us. Yeah. The old world is gone, frankly, the world I grew up in, and we live in a new era of geopolitics, and it's going to require all of us to sort of re-examine what that looks like and what our role is going to be. And we've had many of these conversations in private with many of our allies. They are our allies.
So the old world is gone, the world that he grew up in. He understands that time. He understands that there's a time and a season unto all things. But the problem with that is that they are drunk on who they are, what America used to be, what the West used to be, the influence, the power, and the reach that it used to have. And now the military is no longer the be-all. The dollar and the pound and the euro is no longer the be-all. The threats and the sanctions are no longer the be-all. The SWIFT system is no longer the be-all. We have emerging systems, emerging monetary policies from around the world. We have all of this stuff emerging. And he's realizing that, hey, we've got to try to keep a lid on this thing, because if we can't keep a lid on this thing, boom goes the dynamite. Because the world that he lived in is what? It's no more. He's telling you that this is the collapse and the fall of America. This is the collapse and the fall of the Western world. He said as much. And we're now realizing that. Listen, I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to apologize for the technical difficulties, but you saw Stanislav try to get in here multiple times. So it wasn't like he lied. And we sent out multiple links. So it wasn't on our end. The links may have been broken, like they do with some guests. I'll contact Stanislav. I have to contact a few people after the show anyhow. I'll contact him, see when he will be able to come back on, and we'll try it on another streaming service. So, because we got like 3 or 4 that we stream from. When one does things like this, we'll go over to the other one and stream from it. So we're trying to beat the algorithm. We're trying to beat the censorship, all of that stuff like that. But here, right now, it's time for you to be men and women. Stand up. As my mom says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I stand for freedom, I stand for justice, and I stand for equality. I stand for truth, and I stand with those who stand with the God of freedom, justice, and equality. On that note, I want you to know from the depth of my soul to the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for spending your time with me, because you did not have to do that, because time is the most precious resource. It is an unrenewable resource, because once you use that time up, you can never get it again. So I hope that by you taking that time and spending it a little bit with me, you've received something equal or greater in return for that time. That's why it's called spending time. Do right by others, not because there's some material gain to be had or because of some accolades to be given. Do right by others because it's the right, the humane, the godly, and the just thing to do. Because even when no one else is watching you, remember that God Almighty is watching you. As my late, great, beautiful, wonderful, and excellent mother would always say, God sits high on the throne of power, but he looks low at the actions of man. Know that I love each and every one of you who loves freedom, justice, and equality, and the God of freedom, justice, and equality. But know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that that God in person has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, remember to stay righteous, because righteousness is the only thing that's going to get you out of here. Hey, mama, I hope you're proud of me. Your baby boy still loves you more than life. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Deuces. We out of here.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a